What would it be, Ryan the Great? And today, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I almost had a heart attack off that Eagles win. If that's what we're gonna call it, over the Arizona Cardinals. The final score was Eagles 20, the Cardinals 17. Not as high scoring as I thought it was going to be, though I did predict it was going to be close, and it came down to the final kick. So we're going to be talking about the Eagles, what I think they're going to be doing going forward, and we're going to be talking about a little bit about the Cardinals, obviously. So yeah, we're going to get right into it. But before we get right into it, guys, make sure you subscribe and post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother Living the Great blogs. Also, make sure you follow me on Twitch at Run the Great Podcast. Let's get right into it. Starting off with the Eagles, obviously. I'm not happy with the win. I'm just going to say it. I'm not really happy with the win. The Eagles got bailed out way too many times, whether it was drop passes by the receivers or obviously the missed field goal at the end. I'm not happy with the way the game went at all. But we got, it's not, today it's not just like, a win is a win no matter who's playing. No, it was not like that today. The Eagles need to be better, and it was not a good win by the Philadelphia Eagles. Hurts was consistent again. He played really well, completing 72% of his passes and throwing for over 200 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. But once again, he ran the ball 15 times. I keep saying it. He's going to get hit, and he's going to get injured. Stop running the ball 15 times, all right? We can't have this. Just, if you run the ball 5 times, like Josh Allen did today, I will be happy. But try and throw the ball a little more. Though I do understand, Hurts did do a good job of getting out of the pocket and extending plays. And with the offensive line injuries, which I will be getting into later, Hurts definitely did a great job in extending the plays and, getting rid of the ball when he needed to. I feel like he should have gotten rid of the ball just a little tiny bit more. But it's all right. Well, actually, no, it's not all right. We need to be better. So yeah, at the end of the day, Hurts is showing why he's the franchise QB, and he threw for over 200 yards, and he was able to find receivers. And this team has really been known this season for shutting down top targets, And today is the one day I'm going to give credit to the offensive play calling. The defense played off of the receivers, just like the Jaguars were doing. I think that is because the Eagles lead the league in explosive plays. I'm pretty sure they're first or second or something like that. So they did a great job of the play calling. Oh my God, I can't speak. The Eagles coaches did a great job of play calling, of playing the short game, getting screen passes, yada. The run game did not look like the top running attack in the NFL that we're used to. Sanders, I think he only got like 2 yards of crack. So that's definitely not good. I was hoping for at least 4 or 5. He didn't have to have a career day like he did last week, but he needs to be a little better. But that could be because of the offensive line injuries. I don't know. The only criticism that before we move on to some more criticism, the run game, it did look better in the final 2 possessions where Sanders was running the ball in that last possession. He was able to move the ball upfield as well as Gainwell. So in the last possession it looked good, but the other, I don't know, other 58 minutes it didn't look as good. The only criticism I'm going to have with the receivers is that once again, one receiver had a good game. The other did not have a good game. Smith had 10 receptions for 87 yards, while A.J. Brown only had 3 receptions for 32 yards. Once again, they didn't go to A.J. Brown on third down a lot. I'm not happy about that whatsoever. Smith, once again, a great game, but it needs to be a mixed balance of receivers. I don't want somebody having 10 catches for almost 100 yards, but then the other receiver has 3 receptions. No, if one receiver's going to have 10, if Smith's going to have 10 receptions, then I want A.J. Brown having 5 receptions, all right? It needs to be a mixed balance because these guys are top-tier receivers in the NFL, and they need to be utilized to their full potential. That's why we traded for A.J. Brown. Goddard had another quiet, great game. He had 8 receptions for 97 yards. He led the team in receiving yards. He did a great job of getting the screen passes and making defenders bounce off of him. Proving 2 things: why he's leading the league in tight ends for yards after catch, and proving why we replaced him for Zach Ertz. Both had pretty good games, but I think Goddard definitely outplayed him. Yeah. The offensive line definitely was probably the biggest momentum killer. The Eagles should have had, what? I think the Eagles should have had more 30 points on the Cardinals, but we would have great drives, and then it would be brought back for either two reasons. There was one drive where Smith dropped the ball, and then two other times. I think there was one, I don't know. I think in the same possession, there was a holding call, and Smith dropped the ball. And then another drive, we were doing good, and then there was another holding call that killed the whole drive. So, yeah, we should have had at least 30 points. We should have easily handled that game, but too many mistakes that could have been avoided. Yeah. You got to make sure Kelsey's okay, because when we put Jurgens in at the center position, the Eagles look like lost puppies. The Eagles really look bad without Jason Kelsey. Not saying that Cam Jurgens is good, because I actually really like Cam Jurgens. He and during the preseason, that was probably someone I was most impressed with. I really am a fan of Cam Jurgens, but we need Kelsey in there when we have the option to put him in there. We're gonna move on to the defense. Defense had somewhat of a good game. The ends, though, consisting of Reddick and Brandon Graham, they did a great job of making sure Kyler Murray did not escape the pocket. Especially in the first half. The pressure was not applied as much as I would have liked, and there was not a lot of pressure applied like there was in the other games, like against the Vikings, Commanders, and Jaguars. But they only had one sack. I would have liked at least 2 or 3. I'm not trying to be greedy, but, and that sack was by Reddick, so Reddick is, Reddick once again proving why he definitely is a top linebacker. And why did the Cardinals get rid of him? I mean, Hassan Reddick is really underrated in the NFL right now. I don't know. Yeah, but once again, something that will not show up in the stat book was Reddick and Brandon Graham's ability to make sure Kyler Murray did not escape the pocket where he is most dominant, which is outside of the pocket, So, yeah, in the second half, there was next to no pressure applied to Kyler Murray. They gave him way too much time, and I think that's how they thrived. I was kind of, but I think that problem was on the secondary, which I will talk about in a little bit. But the linebackers, they did really a bad job of covering Zach Ertz, who had a pretty good game. I don't remember the exact stats. I also, for whatever reason, my stupid self did not put them in my notes, but whatever. T.J. Edwards, he played okay. He was more of the spy to make sure Kyler Murray did not run. So I think he did a good job on in the first quarter where he drove Kyler Murray out of bounds for a loss. So he did a good job in that degree. But the secondary was completely awful. The secondary did not let the offense execute the plan. Or did not let the secondary did not let the whole defense execute the plan. They did a great job. Oh, my goodness. As we all know, Kyler Murray is not a pure pocket quarterback, right? So, having said that, if the secondary would have covered, guys like Hollywood Brown and A.J. Green, the defense would have been able to done a little better getting stops more in the Cardinals' territory, if that makes sense. Slay, normally who was always having a good game, he really did not have a good game. Brown had an amazing game. I think he had 8 receptions. And then A.J. Green, somebody who has not had the best start to the season, also played really well. I think he had 5 catches. I did like Hosea Scott's performance. I don't know what people have against him. I really liked Hosea Scott. But obviously, Avonte Maddox is so underrated in the NFL right now. When he comes back, we're definitely going to put him back in. But I really do like Hosea Scott. So, yeah, I think the Eagles need to get a little better in covering receivers that use their speed to run their routes. They did a terrible job in the Lions game when guys like St. Brown were running their routes using their speed. The Eagles do a terrible job of that. At the end of the day, you won the game and you beat a legit team. So you shut the haters up for now, but once again, you're still the only undefeated team in the league. So the teams are going to be coming for you. So, but yeah, the Eagles just need to win better against these teams that they should have against the team that they really should have easily handled. I mean, except with those penalties and drop passes and all that, too many mistakes that could have been avoided. They need to win a little more handily against a team that they should have really killed in this game. I'm not taking anything away from the Cardinals, because the Cardinals are a really good team, but you know what I mean. Now we're going to move on to the Cardinals. Not too much to say about them, but I'll say a little bit. Too many mistakes that could have been avoided also with their team, whether it was that missed field goal at the end or drop passes by the receivers. Murray played pretty fine. He completed 62% of his passes. He threw for over 200 yards. He had a passing touchdown. He doesn't get off so easy, though. He did miss some receivers, and there was one play with Ertz. I think it was the final possession at the end of the game. He completely missed Ertz, and Ertz was wide open. There was nobody 10 yards in with him and Ertz. The run game was not that great, but Connor did get injured, so they do have an excuse for that. The wide receivers, they need to start making better catches. There were some drop catches. I know there was one catch with Hollywood Brown. I think it was in the second quarter, where he literally had the ball in his hands, and he could have ran for another 30 yards, and he dropped the ball. The defense did do enough to stop the Eagles, but the coaches, they really didn't make any adjustments when they saw that the Eagles were running the short game. They still were playing 10 yards off of them, so the coaches did not really, do that great job in that degree. So I think this game was probably more on the coaches than the players. They made no adjustments once again when the Eagles did the short game in the offense. On the bottom line, you should have won this game, but there are too many mistakes by the coaches and the players, and you could have got some momentum by beating the only undefeated team, but too many mistakes that need to be cleared up, and if this is going to be a playoff team, you can't be making these mistakes late in the season. And also, one more thing about the Eagles' defense that I forgot to mention, when they were playing zone coverage, there was an open gap between the linebackers and the receivers, and the Cardinals kept attacking that. And there was nothing nobody fixed that. They really need to look at that in the film room because there was this big gap, and they just kept going there, and the Eagles did nothing about it. I don't know. I think it's something that can be cleared up though if Jonathan Gannon uses his head for once in his life. Not a good win, but we pulled it out. We're still the only undefeated team. Dallas next week, Sunday Night Football. Who just beat the Rams today. The Rams are so bad right now. I got to make a video on the Los Angeles Rams because their team is just, they look in shambles. And I really know why, but make sure you subscribe to post notifications on so you can see that video. What a plug. Beautiful plug. All right. So anyway, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Make sure you subscribe to post notifications on. Also, Thank you for everybody that watched the videos from your boy B's channel. I think he got over 2,000 views on one of those videos. I think it was I forget which match it was. It might have been Ronda Rousey versus Liv Morgan. And then I think on the strap match between McIntyre and Karrion Kross, he got over 1,000 views. So that is absolutely great. Congratulations, Brian. You did great on the videos. Hopefully one day we'll break 1,000 views on my channel. Who knows? We'll see one day. So make sure you subscribe, notifications on, subscribe to Ryan the Great Blogs. Make sure you follow me on Twitch at Ryan the Great Podcast. And as always, Ryan the Great out. Peace.